Hey, Breech, what was your favorite sentence that left the mouth of Colts owner Jim Irsay during that wild is all get out all over the place press conference that started at 8:20ish p.m. Eastern time during a Monday Night Football game?
When he started talking about sausage, I got hungry. So
that was it.
I don't know how to make sausage. I don't know what goes into sausage, but I do know how to build a football team.
How can you not know how to make sausage?
Or what goes into it?
But also the whole point is like, I don't want to, like, I thought he was like doing I don't want to show you what goes into the making of the sausage. The making of the sausage is like an analogy for how like if you were talking about how to build a football team, you're like, listen, sometimes the making of the sausage isn't pretty.
You don't want to see how the sausage is made. Just let me do my job.
Like you can't say I don't know how the sausage is. That's not it. It doesn't make sense as a.
He either botched the analogy or he doesn't know how to make sausage, and neither one is good.
I think he doesn't know how to make sausage.
My favorite one was when Irsay was telling people that you don't know how much the Colts win because they got quartiles on quartiles, baby.
We're the fourth winningest franchise in the league since 2000. All right, that means in the upper quartile of winners, we're in the top quartile of that upper quartile. That's rare.
It gets me I watched it 1,000 times tonight, and it gets me every time. We're in the upper quartile since 2000. We're in the upper quartiles of winners. It like that takes into account essentially the entire Peyton Manning era in Indianapolis, ignoring like the last 10 years when they've been fine.
Brian J. also notes his quote about wanting a coach without experience was delicious. That also was quite funny.
Brinson,
a winning coach, a winning playoff coach, a winning coach that was proven to come in with our franchise. Now, I'm glad he doesn't have any NFL experience. I'm glad he hasn't learned the fear that's in this league. That's because it's tough for all our coaches. They're afraid. They go to analytics, and it gets difficult. I mean, he doesn't have all that. He doesn't have that fear, and there was no other candidate. We were fortunate that he was available.
You know what that sounds like a little bit, Brinson? When we did the Matt Rule Fired podcast, it sounds like the original quotes in a different form from David Tepper about he's a fat guy who wears baggy pants and sweats a lot.
Yeah, he's like, I'm glad he doesn't have any experience. He's like, he was not afraid of analytics.
What other job would you do? Imagine like you get on a plane and they're like, yeah, this pilot doesn't actually have any experience, but I'm happy about that.
He's not afraid of crashing.
Right. He's good to go. Don't sweat this flight. Like, what are you doing?
He's also citing quartiles and top quartiles. He's like, analytics sucks.
I was waiting for Jeff Saturday in that last clip that Billy just played to sort of slide it in Collinsworth style and says, I'm sitting right here. I can hear you.
We don't have this clip, but there was a moment when Jeff Saturday, they're like, no offense, Jeff. And it's like, these are all guys who like covered Jeff Saturday too, by the way. They're like, no offense, but like, do you think you're ready? He's like, listen, when Jim Irsay called me about this job and offered me this job, I said, are you sure? He's like, are you sure I'm a candidate? Like, as in like, really?
Did you dial the right number?
Me? How many times do you think Peyton Manning had to turn him down before?
Sam Bruce Smith asked that question. And thanks for stealing this question, by the way, without attribution. How much do you think he begged?
Stealing Sean Payton's question, but sure.
How much do you think he begged Peyton to coach Indy?
I'm
either
sure
Sean Payton or Peyton Manning. It doesn't matter.
I'm guessing he calls Peyton 3 times a day. Can you come coach a team? Calls Andrew Luck 4 times a day. Hey man, can you come back?
Well, he crapped all over him too.
Yeah, he took a shot at Andrew Luck in that press conference too. He said,
"Still bitter. He's still bitter."
But he was trying to explain how he's such a winner. He's like, we win. He's like, I've got like, he's like, things change. He's like, I've never 27 years never had a quarterback retire in his prime. It's like, it's unnecessary. He also made a reference to how hard it is to win in this league before citing Michael Jordan.
There's no question about that. Honestly, it's not really even in the consciousness of my mind about that sort of thing. I just know, look at, Chris was highly sought after when he came here. It was a great indication of this organization that he wanted to come here because he could have gone anywhere he wanted. He's been executive the year before. And you guys can try to diminish him all you want, but that's just your words. They have no substance to it because there's no truth in it. I mean, the guy's a winner, and he's been immensely successful. You know, no one's perfect in this game. We all lose a lot in this league. You know how many shots Michael Jordan's missed? You know how many games Michael Jordan's lost?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't either. Also,
Michael Jordan had 6 titles with his losses. What do the Colts have?
Well, I will push back. I think
Michael Jordan's didn't play in this league. He played in the National Basketball Association.
Chris Ballard, I think, on the outside looking in, and Colts fans obviously may feel very differently, but we talked about it on the emergency pod earlier. Frank Reich went 40, 33, and 1.
Yes.
And Chris Ballard had obviously a lot to do with that. And I think if Andrew Luck hadn't retired, this is a different conversation. This is the same conversation that you have when Tom Brady leaves Bill Belichick.
Sure.
I mean, so I get what on some level.
Michael Jordan, by the way, won 69% of his games with the Bulls, 639 and 291.
Yeah, we should all know that, I suppose. My bad. But my point is that I get on some level what Irsay's saying, but I do also understand the frustration that Colts fans have had for quite some time now. Hey, Breech, let me ask you this. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this press conference, every single moment of it. People on Twitter were angry about the circus atmosphere and all that. I loved it. Should Colts fans be angry, ambivalent, feel better or worse about their team after that talking to?
Well, I mean, you already knew what you had in Jim Irsay, so it's not like you had him up on this pedestal and was like, oh my God, he's tanking the franchise.
Right. It wasn't
this is
Abraham
the guy
Lincoln.
who spent $5 billion on random autographed guitars on auctions every weekend. So it's not like if that is a reason to worry, that's when you're worrying. But I don't think, there's nothing they could have done as far as a hire goes to make you feel like, oh, this team's going to turn around and make it the playoffs. But it is a little weird that, look, the Colts are in second place in their division. Their season isn't over. This isn't your normal firing. So you would think, hey, we could bring somebody qualified in. And, maybe Jeff Saturday ends up being a great coach. But if you're still in it, and the Colts are more in it than any team that's ever fired a coach in the NFL. And they still have a shot, and they bring in guys.
They don't. They have zero shot. Number one, the Titans are in that division. We discussed that yesterday.
We did. No, yes, we all agree the Titans are the best team in that division. I'm just saying the Colts are in second place, and
give me a percentage on them sneaking in as a 7th seed or better if you're optimistic in the AFC.
9%.
That's way too high. Are you taking the over or under that, Brinson?
I'm under.
9%. Are you crazy? Are you smoking what Zach Taylor's smoking?
I'm smoking what Jim Irsay smoking.
Oh, well, then it's 99%.
I'm trying to find the let's see all the playoff odds.
You know what? How about 0.9%? That's what I said.
Yeah, so here's the thing.
I didn't move the decimal.
If they elevated John Fox
5% according to 538.
Oh, see, I was only 4% off. Thank you.
You were 50.
Literally double.
Yes, you were off by 50%.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Brinson, I'll ask you this because you were our resident conspiracy theorist. Is this the example of Jim Irsay saying the quiet part out loud by bringing in Jeff Saturday and saying we're quitting, we're tanking for whoever the quarterback is we love, and then we're leaning into it like we're not doing it secretly?
I actually don't. I know
you're a very mysterious man. Go ahead. I can't wait to hear this.
I think that Jim Irsay, and I would have thought that before. I don't think Jim Irsay would want Jeff Saturday. I think he doesn't want him to be bad. I think he wants him to win some games. I think he wants to hire him full time.
And in Jeff Saturday's defense, he seemed like people say great things about him. He doesn't have any experience, but he's supposed to be a great leader and all that. So that's good.
Yeah. I think Irsay wants to. I think it's like I mentioned this before. I think it's like the Wisconsin setup where they fired Paul Christ and they promoted Jim Leonard, who the former Wisconsin player, defensive coordinator, up and coming.
But he had experience,
right? But I'm saying it's like a I think it's Barry Alvarez still the maybe somebody else is the AD, but anyway, the AD loves Jim Leonard, wants to hire him, doesn't want him to get stolen away. Got rid of Paul Christ early. I think this is a case of Irsay's like, okay, I want to bring in Jeff Saturday. If he's any good, we'll win a couple of games. If he's terrible, we'll end up, tanking. Like, I don't think Jim Irsay is a rational actor right now.
I don't think this is like Jim Leonard though, because Jim Leonard was well respected as a coach. Now Jeff Saturday is well respected as a person, but he's been coaching high school.
Yeah, he has zero experience as a coach at the college or NFL level.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm just saying that I think in the instance, I'm not comparing the two candidates. I'm saying in the instance, I think Irsay wants to hire Jeff Saturday full time. And the only way he can justify it is if Jeff Saturday comes in and like the Colts look competent and try hard for the final 8 games of the season.
Well, there's still the Rooney Rule that he has to comply with. So
he can just interview 2 minorities and then hire Jeff Saturday. I mean,
let me ask you this: if Jeff Saturday's name was Jerome Saturday, you think he's getting this opportunity?
I do not.
Just wondering. That just popped into my head.
I mean,
no. Knows the question. Jonathan Jones actually tweeted out earlier on Monday. He texted a coach about his thoughts on the hire, and the coach sent back a photo of like this minority coaching fellowship of 50 black guys standing on and bleachers getting a picture taken for this NFL sort of opportunity. And here comes Jeff Saturday moonwalking into the building as the interim coach. And at the end of the day, whatever, it is what it is. But here we are.
I think it helps you. So the Texans got crushed for trying to hire Josh McCown, rightfully so.
This feels like a
Rooney Rule trying to hire Josh McCown.
And Josh McCown is supposed to be a solid dude as well, and maybe a great coach. But it
feels really nice guy.
Feels like a similar situation for sure.
But this is the only way you can get Jeff Saturday in there to like. This is the only way you can get him in the building by bypass the Rooney Rule, get him in the building, let him coach and see how he does, and then potentially hire him. Like if they go 4-4, even 2-6, but they try hard and they look okay. He can. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. It's his team. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's one of those two things. I don't think he's firing Frank Reich and hiring Jeff Saturday thinking this guy's going to get us to the playoffs this year.
What do you think he was thinking? Because it was hard to discern from the press conference.
I don't think he's thinking correct. Like
Irsay or Saturday?
Irsay. What's Irsay thinking?
Okay.
What's his plan? What's Irsay's plan? Is my question.
I think he's impatient and fed up, and this Carson Wentz thing is like messing with his brain. And
do you think he's a better owner than David Tepper? I think he's a better owner than David Tepper.
I think he's a luckier. I think he's had more fortune with quarterbacks.
Yeah, luck into Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck.
Fair enough. Okay.
Because he's like, I hired Bruce Arians as my interim coach. How'd that work out? He won a Super Bowl later. It's like he didn't win a Super Bowl for you.
Oh, did he actually say that during the press conference?
And it's like, and he was like the offensive coordinator.
He had 40 years of experience.
You just promoted your coach got cancer, and you promoted the offensive coordinator got promoted by the GM to the head coach.
And he had 40 years of experience prior to that in terms of the NFL.
Yeah,
well, and that's the other thing about this, besides obviously the minority hiring part and Irsay just doing whatever the hell he wants to get Jeff Saturday in there. But how do you feel if you're Gus Bradley or John Fox, a former head coach
Reggie
on
Wayne,
the coaching staff,
a former Colts legend with more experience than Jeff Saturday.
And now you're taking orders from a guy who was coaching high school football last week. How's the coaching staff going to feel about that?
So they're not.
What?
Are they on their bye or not? I haven't checked their schedule.
No, for the Raiders, they play Josh McDaniels.
So let me ask you this.
Jeff Saturday tweeted the Raiders stink a week ago.
Oh, that's right. He did. So it's, the press conference at 8:00 on Monday, November 7th. They have a game this Sunday. He said during the press conference, Jeff Saturday did, that I'm talking with the coaching staff, haven't talked with the defensive staff yet, to interview who's going to be calling the plays. Typically, the game plan is ready to go by Tuesday. So
he said tonight he was going to make a decision tonight and then go.
So someone's got to pull an all-nighter to get the game plan together, and then they're going to be calling plays. All right.
If it wasn't the Raiders, it'd be so easy to hammer like just whoever they were playing.
Okay, that's wild, man. It's fun.
They literally play a game. They're going to wake up tomorrow morning with a game in 5 days, and the play caller has never called plays before.
Let me ask you another question. What happens?
I think it's Reggie Wayne or Scotty Montgomery is my guess.
What happens if the Colts win like 35-0? Do you have to fire Josh McDaniels?
Oh, yeah. They won't, but yes.
Kind of, yeah. I think there's a chance. Yeah, I actually think there's a chance he might be like John Fox is calling plays. I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh. What if Josh McDaniels gets fired because he lost to Jeff Saturday in Jeff Saturday's first game?
If you get out coached by a guy who was literally coaching high school football last week, you cannot keep your job. Like,
especially after you ended up in that job because you pulled out of the Colts job and the guy.
There's your revenge game angle. There's your revenge game, Brinson.
And like you have the Colts have a backup quarterback. They just fired their coach. They have an interim coach. They don't have an offensive coordinator. They're in total disarray. If the Raiders cannot beat this team, then the Raiders might not win any more games, and you just get rid of McDaniels now.
Hey, Breech, let's say that 2 years from now, Joe Burrow gets traded to the Steelers and wins a bunch of Super Bowls, and the Bengals are a 1-win team in the middle of the season, and the owner comes to you and says, call out of the blue, like, hey, do you want to coach the Bengals? And I'm just trying to play out the Jeff Saturday thing. Jeff Saturday has to talk to his wife and his son. Are you going to talk to Rachel and your daughter and think about it? Or are you just going to say, absolutely not, this is idiotic?
Jeff Saturday did play a little more football than Breech, but
this is
but
true.
He can't play the football as far as Breech. Let's be honest.
I mean, it's if you were to call any former NFL player, what if Mike Brown called my dad?
Yeah, what do you call Jim Breech?
Same amount, almost the same amount of NFL experience as Jeff Saturday.
Boomer Esiason, like,
well, yeah. I mean,
Boomer's never coached, right? I mean,
I like the Jim Breech angle better
because
I'm just saying, like, I'm saying, but like Boomer's in the media, and you know,
right? I mean, whatever. You're just calling somebody random up, and it's just, I don't know that they would be comfortable taking the job.
I wonder how. You got the sense that Jeff Saturday felt uncomfortable sitting next to Irsay while he was saying the words that he was saying. When Saturday spoke, it made a lot more sense. Like it felt like
Irsay hadn't talked, the press conference would have been fine.
It would have been fine. That's right. It wouldn't have been. I thought it was fine either way. I enjoyed it. It wouldn't have been as entertaining. And I think, as people noted afterwards, you'd have felt better about it because Saturday he's charismatic, whether he has experience or not.
And he also didn't like bluff in the way that Jim Irsay did. Where Irsay's like, I've won all this stuff. Like he's like, I've never hired a losing coach. It's like, well, why did you just fire Frank Reich? Like you did, like you're bragging about hiring a guy you just fired? He's like, Bill Polian's been fired twice. It's just people get fired in this league. And Saturday got there and was like, listen, he's like, of course, he's like, I'm gonna have to earn the respect of the people in the locker room. I'm gonna have to earn the respect of the coaching staff. I understand that. I don't have experience. Like he was at least honest about it, you know.
I'm going to completely date myself here, but he was Admiral Stockdale. He was the vice presidential running mate for Ross Perot back in '92, I think, who did it. Who had at the debate said, "Who am I? Why am I here?" And that sort of felt like Jeff Saturday having to explain himself. Like, wait, why are you on the?
Yeah, the actual quote. He said he looked at Jim Irsay and he said, "Why am I a candidate for this?"
Yeah, I mean, he is Admiral Stockdale. For my listeners from the late 80s, early 90s.
Peyton Manning said he didn't find out about it until Adam Schefter tweeted about it.
Adam Schefter after he put a shirt on for doing the Kirk Cousins dance.
What was that?
Shirtless Adam Schefter.
Any other thoughts from the Jeff Saturday press conference?
No, that was fun. I look forward to this game, and part of me, I don't know, Brinson, do you have in front of you the spread for the Colts Raiders?
It was 6 points when I was putting together my picks about 3 hours ago.
In Las Vegas?
Raiders favored by 6 in Las Vegas.
I bet it's 7.5 now, and I'm gonna bang the Colts all day long on that.
Really?
Oh my God.
It is still 6. Hadn't moved.
Yeah.
The under 42.5.
The Jeff Saturday hiring didn't shock the books into
that's how bad Josh McDaniels is.
I mean, seriously, right?
Holy Moses. All right, yeah, that was fun.
All right, let's take a break. Then when we come back, we'll talk about the Monday Night Football game next.